I'm trying not to overreact, but I think the New York Jets may have just had the best first round of my lifetime. I go back to 2005 as a Jets fan. If you go back further than that, put it in the chat below. Another draft first round that could compete with what Joe Douglas just did last night. And also, if you loved the first round, like this video, comment below the initials of the player you're most excited that we took. We're going to grade the 3 picks that we made last night, and we're going to answer 3 big burning questions about each of these selections and their impact on the Jets roster and their strategy moving forward and how it helps us perhaps close the gap in the division. Let's get right into it. Ahmad Gardner, he was the pick at 4, cornerback, Cincinnati. 6'3", 195, 4'4", 40. Long, rangy, athletic. Think Antonio Cromartie, but with better ball skills. A little bit of a talker, but man, can this kid back it up. We're going to use 5 criteria to grade each of these picks. Let's start with Sauce. Talent. That's an A+. Hadn't allowed a touchdown in like 3 years. One of the most productive corners coming out of college since Jalen Ramsey. Position of need. That's a B-. Corner room was in pretty good shape. Premier position value. Another B-. Corner isn't really what it used to be compared to edge and offensive tackle, but still a very important position. Culture fit. A+. Everything this young man says is dripping in authenticity, leadership, charisma, character, intensity. He says he's never drank or smoked anything in his life because playing the game at the highest level is enough for him to feel some type of way. I love it. Overall grade for this pick is an A. You're really banking on the Hall of Fame talent here, outweighing the position of need and the premier positional value. And that's what this is going to be. You go best player available. The Jets had 9 picks. You don't need to reach for need when you have 9 picks. If Sauce was number 1 or 2 on your board, he's there at 4. Boom, you take him. You never look back because a Hall of Fame draft selection ages well 100% of the time. And I think we just made one. I really do. Now, 3 big questions about Ahmad Gardner. The number 1, there had been a lot of chatter about, well, we play a lot of zone. And I don't know if corner is really a premier position in this system. Well, do you know what good coaching staffs do? They adapt and tweak and modify and mold their system in order to enhance elite talent. We didn't have enough elite talent on the defense last year to cater a system towards any one player or group of players. That changes right now. Because, yeah, we're a zone-heavy scheme, but guess what? If my cornerback room looks like Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Bryce Hall, Michael Carter, Brandon Eccles, I'm playing more man. I'm playing more man. Number 2, now people are wondering what happens with Bryce Hall. Do we trade him? Because now he's not going to play the slot probably. So that probably leaves him at corner number 4. I mean, obviously every player is available for the right price, but I'd prefer to hang on to Bryce Hall and be really deep, young, and versatile at corner. Also, we're not really paying these guys a lot. DJ Reed is the only guy getting paid. All the other players are on rookie deals. So having a young, deep, versatile position group, it's not something we're used to, but I'm okay with it. And, you know, Bryce Hall being a 5th round pick who was injured coming out of college, and you're paying him nothing, and he is an excellent number 4 corner, ready to step in if someone goes down. That's a good pick if your 5th round pick turns into that, and you're paying him nothing. Now also, people have been talking about, man, how does this impact our division? Look at these wide receivers. Now look at the corners that we have. And I think I'm really excited about one matchup. People bring up Tyreek Hill. And to be honest, as good as Sauce is, as fast as Sauce is, there's not one human being that's running with Tyreek Hill. How you cover Tyreek Hill is playing a 2-deep shell so he doesn't get over the top, and then you pressure his quarterback. That's how you defend against Tyreek Hill. However, I'm really excited to see the matchup of Sauce Gardner versus Stephon Diggs twice a year. because those guys are two technicians at their craft, and they both got some dog in them. And man, I'm excited. I'm really pumped for that matchup. Also, breaking news from Adam Schefter that the Sauce Gardner being officially drafted to the Jets is being held up. They have to fly in a veterinarian to conduct his physical because he's a certified dog. Man, it's just the perfect word to describe him, isn't it? He's such a dog. What a Robert Saleh pick. Go look at the video. Find Robert Saleh jumping on the phone with Sauce, and he's like, Sauce! Man, the intensity. Those two, a match made in heaven. A match made in heaven. Tell me now Robert Saleh doesn't value the cornerback position. After watching that video, you know what Robert Saleh does value? Hall of Fame caliber football players on his defense. We got one. A+ pick. Now, Garrett Wilson. We got to grade him, and we got to answer 3 big questions. Wide receiver. Ohio State, 6 foot, 195, 4.37 40-yard dash. Absurd production. Well over 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns last year. The talent level, that is an A for me. I wish he was 6'2", but man, he kind of reminds me of Steve Smith back in his heyday with the Carolina Panthers, a smaller wide receiver who can play above the rim and plays more physical than his size would suggest. And he's like a running back with the ball in his hands in open space. He's a silky smooth route runner. He's good in the red zone. He can stretch the field horizontally with his speed. He helps your intermediate passing game with his route running. He helps your short passing game with screens. He helps your horizontal spacing with gadgetry and jet sweeps. He improves every facet of our offense. Only thing he's got to clean up is he did have an 8% drop rate, which is higher than you'd like. So we'll coach him up there. But the talent, it's an absolute A. Great value at 10. Position of need, also an A. We have ignored wide receiver 1 for far too long. Premier position, that's a B. You know, it's not edge, it's not offensive tackle or quarterback, but wide receiver is becoming more and more of a premier position in the NFL, and you see that by how these guys are getting paid. Culture, he's an A. I think his personality really balances out our first pick of Sauce, who's definitely a trash talker. But I think Garrett Wilson is the kind of young man who will come in and lead by example, just bring his lunchbox to work every day and get the job done. And you need some of those guys too. Not everyone needs to be a vocal leader. Overall grade, A. There's nothing negative you could say about this pick. He's productive. He's got the draft pedigree. He's got the measurables. He's healthy. He's a good culture fit. It's a position of need. The value checks out. Home run pick. Now, 3 big questions about Garrett Wilson. Obviously, we didn't get a trade for wide receiver 1, and now that seems very unlikely that we're going to add a veteran, big name wide receiver via trade. Also, there are rumors that the 49ers had offered Deebo Samuel to the Jets for their 10th pick while they were on the clock, and the Jets said no. And I got to be honest, I'm glad they said no. I was a big proponent of the Jets trading pick 10 for Deebo Samuel because I thought it was unlikely Garrett Wilson would be there. I thought Atlanta would take him at 8. But to get Garrett Wilson and pay him $2.5 million a year as opposed to Deebo Samuel and paying him $25+ million a year, yeah, I'm rolling with Garrett Wilson all day on that. And you see, question number 2 here is, speaking of that $25 million, have we entered a bit of a wide receiver bubble? Right? Because a couple interesting things have happened this offseason. Number 1, wide receivers started getting paid crazy money. It started with Christian Kirk down in Jacksonville, that first eye-popping contract. And then it just kept going. I mean, Tyreek Hill getting $30 million. $30 million was considered quarterback money like 5 or 6 years ago. Right? When Kirk Cousins first got that big payday, it was like $30 million. When he was about to come to the Jets, that was what they offered him. They offered him $30 million, like 4 years ago. And now Tyreek Hill's getting $30 million. And you see a lot of teams, a ton of wide receivers went in round 1, and this wasn't a particularly stacked wide receiver class. However, teams were moving off their wide receivers on expiring contracts and just resetting the clock with rookie wide receivers. It tells me that some GMs, some smart GMs, like Joe Douglas, who didn't go veteran receiver, went rookie receiver, like the Ravens, who moved off their veteran and restarted the clock, like the Titans, who moved off A.J. Brown and restarted the clock with Treylon Burks. They are telling us that they think we're in a wide receiver bubble and that market is going to crash. And there's going to be teams left in 2 or 3 years with these $30 million receivers that are living to regret those contracts. It's interesting. Final question on Garrett Wilson is, how does he fit into our offense? What's his role? Who's in the slot? Because he and Elijah Moore have a little bit of a similar build and kind of a similar skill set. And I think the beauty of the answer to that question is that we don't know and that it's going to change all the time because we have so much flexibility. Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson and even Corey Davis can all win from the slot and outside. And Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson are both dynamic weapons you can utilize in gadget plays and design plays, getting them the ball, using their yards after catchability. They're all good route runners. So we have some really interchangeable pieces at wide receiver, and it's really exciting. I mean, this is the most firepower we've had on offense probably since 2015 when Decker and Marshall broke onto the scene. Wow. What a job we've done to support our young quarterback. No more excuses for Zach Wilson, but that will be for another video. Finally, edge rushers. They keep falling, and then Joe Douglas picks up the phone. He calls Tennessee. He comes up to 26. What did it cost us? Well, to go from 35 to 26, it cost us a 5th-round pick, 163, and then a pretty big pick swap. We swapped 69 and dropped all the way back to 101. I'm fine with the cost because who do we take? Jermaine Johnson, edge, Florida State, 6'5", 260. 11.5 sacks last year, 17.5 tackles for loss. Really good against the run. Really good motor. And, there's no Bosa brother in this draft. There's no guy who you're going to be like, this guy's going to get a 16, 18 sacks a year. That player didn't exist in this draft. So if Jermaine Johnson comes in and he gives you 8, 9, 10 sacks and he's good against the run at pick 26, I'm here for it. So let's grade this pick. Talent. A-. Jermaine Johnson is not the 26th best player in the draft. He is better than that. That is an A- talent. Position of need. A. We needed to come away with a top 20-25 talent at edge rusher. We got one. Premier position. A freaking plus, man. Outside of quarterback, probably the most important position on the team. Culture. A+. Another dude who's just going to pack his freaking lunch and get to work. I love how much we're valuing our culture. Complete culture change. Overall grade, A+. I think this is the best pick of the draft considering the value he was taken at. I mean, I was torn on Jermaine Johnson at 4. Him at 10, I was in favor of, but him at 26 is a slam dunk home run, no doubt about it. Now, big 3 questions for Jermaine Johnson. We passed on Kayvon Thibodeau. That's why we have to wait to grade or react to or analyze the draft kind of in totality. Because at the time, when we took Sauce Gardner, I would not have given that an A pick because we passed on Kayvon Thibodeau. But to come back around and add Jermaine Johnson, now that Sauce Gardner pick looks phenomenal to come away with those 3 players. But passing on KT, I'm gonna trust that Joe Douglas had his reasons. I would have preferred he didn't go to the freaking Giants, so he doesn't have to ball out in the same stadium that we play in. But I'm not necessarily rooting against KT, and the value getting Jermaine Johnson at 26, I think, is definitely a much better value pick than Kayvon Thibodeau at 5. So I'm okay with it. I really am. Number 2, why did Jermaine Johnson fall? Well, that's one way to look at it. But if you really think about it, every team only had like 1 pick. So each team just needs one guy that they like more, that plays a position that they need more, that fits their system more over Jermaine Johnson. So I know when you look at it in totality, it's like 25 teams passed on him, but it's just really one decision at a time. And it happens to players, really good players all the time. Happened to Elijah Moore, Michael Carter last year, and the Jets took advantage of it. Having a Creed Humphrey last year, almost fell to the 3rd round. And finally, how does this round out the Jets pass rush? Man, I'm excited because You pair him with Carl Lawson on the edges, JFM back inside with Quinnen Williams. And is there an elite all-pro pass rusher amongst those four? No, but those are four guys who can consistently beat single teams, and we're getting home. We're going to be able to get home without blitzing. And then look at the depth. Solomon Thomas, Sheldon Rankins, Jacob Martin, Vinnie Curry, Bryce Huff. This unit and kind of this roster in general is starting to remind me of the 2018 Philadelphia Eagles roster, starting with that defensive line where they didn't have one guy like you needed a triple team, but man, they were 7, 8, 9 deep. They kept rotating and fresh guys getting to the quarterback. They were also really good on the offensive line, which is where we're really good. Man, they also had a young second-year quarterback, broke onto the scene before he got hurt. But we got to save the Zach Wilson hype for other videos. Finally, what's next? What's left in the draft? First of all, round 1 is an A. If you couldn't tell, it's an overall A plus slam dunk. We still have 5 picks left. We have pick 38. We have our 4th round picks, 111 and 117. We have that pick at the end of the 3rd round, 101, that we got back from Tennessee. And then we also have a 5th round pick. Put in the comments below, who do you want at 38? For me, and I think a lot of Jets fans, obviously, ideally, Nakobe Dean would fall. And I'm not opposed to moving back out of 38 because it's a big gap to pick at 38 and then not pick until 101. So if we could slide back to 50 and still get a really high impact player on our defense, like a Chad Muma or someone like that, and add another mid-late round pick, if Nakobe Dean's not there, I'm listening to that. But drop those names below. Thank you so much for watching, and let's go Jets.